From Generic Jam, what marketing strategies have worked best for you, especially with an indie game budget?
This is where I have bad news. Um, there's uh, there's not a short. What's the short answer? The short answer is um, you as an indie game team, as important it is to have an artist and a programmer, it's important to have someone dedicated to streaming, working with streamers, uh, making videos about your game. I know that sounds insane, but
A little bit.
the reality. So on the my other life, right, when I'm doing big games, we are talking about um, 9-figure marketing budgets. Think how, like, go ahead and do the numbers. $100 million plus marketing
Okay.
budgets. When we're talking about launching a game with an established IP, so pick an IP that you love. Does it have lightsabers? Does it have a guy with big ears? That that game just to exist requires $20+ million per year. Plus, you got to you're required to spend generally that much money in month one minimum on marketing. It's a commitment that you make to get that IP. And so my point is, you have these big games, they're spending many tens of millions of dollars, and then past $100 million in a single year on marketing a new game release. What that does to the market for buying ads these days, it means that we're at a defense level spending budget for marketing, like you're buying X ads or whatever. It's almost impossible for you, despite all the little tweaks and targeting your audience and all that stuff. I mean, you may be able to make an ad that actually is worth the money. It might be possible. Probably not. And most likely it's an order of magnitude. We've spent some of the ads we put up, we're spending $30 to $100 to get a wish list. Let that sink in. And then you're like, damn, I should have bought a Corvette. What do we do? I just got like 20 wish lists. What am I doing with my life?
I
And so
think
you gotta understand that reality. And so that what I'm saying is that there's not a good answer to this. It's definitely not buying ads or even buying ad rolls in streamers. You know, they want 400 or 500 bucks. They're like, oh, I got 100,000 subscribers. Guess what? Your conversion rate from a link in a video, like let's say you're on YouTube, you got a video link in the description to your Steam store, maybe we're talking between 1,000 and 10,000 views will get the person to click the link. So
Yeah.
how many trillions of views do you need to get down? You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And so these guys everybody wants $1,000. If you got any kind of an audience, you want 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 for the, like, today's video sponsored by, blah blah blah. That's blah blah blah. And guess what? Also, people hate those ads.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I had to watch the ad to get to your video, and now I got to watch a video with an ad in it that I can't skip. So I'm gonna like scoot over it. My point is, we are in a wasteland of of easy ads. Back in the day when I was doing indie games, 15 years ago, I could buy like banner ads on the crappy top sites and forums and stuff for $30 a month, and I'd get some users, and in the Wikipedia article would bring me more users than the ads and all the stuff. And that's just gone. Everything's been slurped up into like 4 spots on the internet. The internet, when they say the internet's dead, the organic traffic is. And so all that to say, you got to bring someone on your team that's going to stream your game, stream your development process. And I'm saying this is, what am I doing next? That's what I'm doing next, because I spent a whole bunch of money, burned it all at the stake. And now I'm like, no, I'm going to have a full-time streamer. Is that me? Is it someone else? Like, somebody's going to have to just be doing that, because that's actually where the marketing is on the edge. And it's not the act man. He's awesome, but he's you're not. He's not going to be like, oh, your games, or Andy Pants. Andy Pants is great, but you're not going to get 1 billion click-throughs, right? It's only so much reach.
Right.
And those guys want a lot of money, and they can get it because the guys with the $100 million budgets are paying it. And so what I'm saying is it's defense level spending. They're outspending us 99 to 1. You just can't do the ads. I know I just went way too long on that, Fluffy. I'm sorry, but it's a really important thing that nobody's talking about.
Well, I was going to say what your guys' ad strategy seems like is with having that YouTube channel, which is your studio, and putting out these shorts. Like, even there's no gameplay. Like, there's no game. It's just Flip going and doing what he's doing. Like, that is a better ad campaign in and by itself than it would for you to buy ads, I think, because you're bringing them like, okay, what is this from? And then you've got the autistic people out there like me, like looking into like what this is. So like that's useful. It could work.
It might work. We don't know yet. So you can copy it if you want, but buyer beware. What I will say is that in the current state where talking heads and streamers are the media.
Yes.
De facto. They're the media. They're where the buyers, the players meet the developers and the sellers. They're the single conduit. Okay. So because of that, you just have to be there. And the best traffic is when a streamer or a talking head says, hey, I like this game. This game's cool. And it doesn't look like an ad, or it's not an ad. Either way, if they say that, that's like 10x. I guarantee the numbers are actually like 10x better than an ad would be.
Oh, yeah.
Just mentioning it. And, presumably it was free for you because they did it out of the goodness of their own heart. Now, the reality with that is that that's super infrequent. You can't count. You can't have a business strategy where you're hoping for the goodness of people's hearts. They're going to use their business platform to pump your game. So so don't rely on that.
Yeah.
But the other thing that it does is effectively you have to produce content that's more entertaining than that streamer otherwise would be presenting to their audience, or that talking head right then. If they want to like roll your ad clip and go, hey, check this out, it's funny, it's because what they had queued up wasn't as good. And
exactly.
So it puts the onus on you, the dev, to now produce on average more entertaining content than all the best streamers. And you could do the math on that and go, that's impossible. Otherwise you'd be on average better than the best streamer. It's an impossible sort of burden to take on. And that's why the doom and gloom on, we have to actually, kind of coalesce as a community and figure out how to assume the role that has been left with sort of like the corporate like sweep up of everything.
Mm-hmm.
We have to rebuild the game development community. And I'm not just saying indie. Indie's an identity. Some of us identify with it. Some of us don't. Like, I've been in indie a bunch of my life, and I still don't even think of myself that way. I think of myself as a game developer.
Right.
Not an indie game developer, a game developer. And
so what you're saying,
we have to build that community again.
So what you're saying is somebody needs to buy up Kotaku and make it an indie game developing website, so that way people can get noticed more often, right?
I'm saying that we need to assume the role and provide more value than Kotaku provides.
Well, that's
Once
not hard
that
to
happens,
do nowadays.
Well, we say that, right? But we have to actually pull it off. And that's the real trick, is that we're not going to do it fragmented like we are. I have this thing where right now we're in the land of we're in the like barbarian outrage cycle, where we have a lot of people who they're the lookouts in the tower at the corners of the castle, and they are bitching and moaning about the armies coming our way, and look at, they're shitting on our fields, and they're doing all this other stuff, and these guys shouldn't even be in our land, and all this stuff. Those guys are good for calling out an issue that we got coming down the pipeline, but they're not part of the solution. The thing we're missing, so that's, you have to have those guys to identify, and it kind of coalesces the group, right? So that's where we're at. We all like, hey, we got a lot of weird stuff happening. Okay, we're not alone. We can't just sit down and bitch about it.
Well,
that
we
doesn't
could, but
actually
we're
solve the
making
problem.
progress.
No, we will remain barbarians. We won't become
Yes.
Romans and build the amazing things. We're not going to build cathedrals. We're
Right.
just going to be like living in the squalor, bitching about the guys that made the squalor.
Right.
And so we have to come together somehow. Yeah, and I don't know what this looks like, but we've got to get the community back and say, look, we're going to assume the role of the leaders that are going to take us. We are going to, here's where we're going, fellas, indies or otherwise. It doesn't matter. If you're interested in making fun games, good games, and bringing joy to people, then you're on our team. If you're interested in like if you just are pissed off about stuff, or you got a bone to pick, then you might not be a part of our group. I don't know, but here's what we're doing. We're gonna fucking make games great again, and I'm gonna have to see how many letters that is.
It's MAGA.
Yeah, right.
Games great again.
we actually have to have a desire for like where we want to go in the future, and not just be pissed off of where we're at.